Let's make this cute springtime chick. I got these shapes from Amazon and I'm going to paint them in the Rethunk Junk by Laura color Marigold. If you don't want to invest in these egg shapes, then you know you can always use cardboard. You know I'm a fan of the cardboard. So for cardboard, just get yourself an egg shape, print something out on your computer. I like to get my shapes from my Cricut design space and just trace it on your cardboard and cut it out. Once you have it cut out, I will spritz it with a little bit of water just to soften that top layer. And then I will peel back to reveal some of that corrugated layer and then just create some texture for my little chick. These are equally as fun. This is such a fun project to do with your children, with your grandchildren, do it with a group of ladies. Wouldn't it be fun to just make a bunch and take them to a nursing home and cheer the folks up, put a little piece of Easter candy with it if that's allowed, or a sweet little note, happy spring. So many things you can do. Now we need to make some feet and a beak, and I am using the Iron Orchid Design mold called Fleur De Lis, and it has all of these great holiday shapes in it, and it has, I think, 4 or 5 sized hearts, and I'm going to use the smallest heart and the next to the size smallest heart for this particular project. You can, if you cut these out in cardboard, you can make them as big or as small as you want, but since these are little springtime chicks, I'm making them a little smaller. So I need 2 hearts this size for each chick and 1 small heart for the beak. I'm using Iron Orchid Design air dry clay. You can cast these molds with hot glue or any kind of clay, or you could even do them with resin. Now I'm going to paint them with the Rethunk Junk by Laura color Sunset. If you want softer colors for your project, you can totally use the color Sunflower and Coral Crush. That would be really pretty. Or you can do them all kinds of pastel colors, only limited by your imagination. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Whatever makes you happy. Now I'm going to use some of my leftover tintable glaze that I created using the color Hazelnut. Did you know Rethunk Junk has a tintable glaze? You can create any color you want. And I'm just going to sort of kind of grunge up my little chicks. You can skip this step if you just like the color more vibrant, but I want to make them look a little, I don't know, a little more like vintage spring. I'm going to do the same thing to the cardboard cutout. Brush it on and wipe it back. While those are drying, I'm going to apply a little bit of the glaze also to my feet and my beaks, and then I'm going to take a little damp paper towel and sort of just pat it off. And when I do that, some of my paint is also going to pull back because the paint's still just a little bit wet, and it gives it my feet in a little vintage distressed look, and that is what I want. If you don't want that look, then wait until it's completely dry or don't add any glaze to it. Now I'm using my ink pad color called Coffee, and I'm going around the edges and a little bit over the surface. Again, feel free to skip this step, but I just like the way it looks. Now let's put on those feet and the beak. I'm using Titebond Quick and Thick glue. And see, I put my hearts upside down, and now they're no longer hearts, but they're little chick feet. And the little heart is a little chick beak. Makes you look at heart shapes a little differently too, doesn't it? If you don't have this mold, don't worry. You can either buy little heart shapes or cut them out. I like the molds because I like the dimension that it gives my little chicks. Now it needs some eyes. I'm using the color Midnight and the bottom tip of a paintbrush and just dipping it in the paint and then tapping it on my little chick for some little beady chick eyes. So easy. So fun. Now the last thing, because these chicks are fresh out of the eggs, they need a little tuft of feathers at the top of their head, and so I am going to use some raffia. So I'm going to cut off a little bit of raffia and take about 3 strands of it, trim it up a little bit, twist it at the end, and just put it through the little hole at the top of my little chick. This is my wooden chick. And then I'm going to tie it in a double knot at the top. And the reason I'm going to do a double knot is because I want the strands to stand up a little straighter than if I just tied it once. Plus, I don't want it to come undone. And then it stands up a little bit. Then I'm going to take my scissors and just trim it. And oh my goodness, so simple, so cute. For the cardboard guy, you will need some paper punch, hole punch, And I'm just going to punch a hole at the top. I guess you could glue it to the back, but I think it just looks better this way. Tie it on, double knot it, trim it up. These would be so fun to just put around the house, go hang on your neighbor's doorknobs. But if you're having guests for the holiday, why not turn them into napkin rings? If you want to paint that, you can. I'm not for the purposes of this video, but I'm just heating up my hot glue gun. And then I am going to glue this right on to the back of my spring chick. Once that hot glue is dry, I am going to add a fun springtime napkin to it. You can use paper napkins or you can use cloth napkins if you have those. And if you have guests coming for the holiday, wouldn't this be a fun keepsake for them to take home to remember the time spent together? So many ways you can use these cute little springtime chicks. What would you do with yours?